So let's go ahead and get started. Chris DeLeon from Fresno Metro Ministry will be giving us a live tour of the Yosemite Village Community Garden and Urban Farm Incubator called Yoville. This site tour will include a look at the location and the farm stand, garden plots available, and a peek into what the gardeners are planning for the season. With that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Chris.
Hi, Courtney. Thanks for the intro. Hi, everyone. So welcome to the Yoville Community Garden and Farm Training Program. So we just call it Yoville for short. And this is a 7.5 acre community garden and urban farm training program that's found here on California and Fruit behind the Yosemite Village apartment complex. It's a project that we've done in partnership with the Fresno Housing Authority. So today you'll get to meet a couple of our gardeners and then see what we have installed. So let's take a walk around. So out here we have some pollinator areas. So we're going to be clearing these out soon with some volunteers as well. But we planted fruit trees along the paths here and planted lots of plants that help with attracting bees and hummingbirds and other beneficial pollinators that will come and make sure that our vegetables grow and that all of our fruit grow. So in this middle area is where we have the community garden. We have some blackberries as well. We have a little wall of blackberries that we planted here for any residents to come and eat. These are also open to anyone. You can see that the buds are starting to come out on these. So we have a wall of these here, and then we also have raspberry walls on the other side as well. And then you can see some strawberry plants here that are planted on the surrounding area and some orchids. All right, so these are the garden plots. A lot of people ask, like, well, if like how do I use a community garden? What is a community garden? So each one of these areas that are surrounded by rocks is one of the garden plots. So if you want to utilize one of the garden plots that are still open in the garden, it's $35 for a year or $18 for 6 months. We help you set up the drip lines and put compost and get the area ready. So these are already checked out. They already have the drip lines. And they're already being utilized by some of the residents that live near here. Yeah, and so if you want to check out a plot, you can contact me and then just let me know. You can come look at the ones that we have available and then we'll help you get started. You don't have to have any experience. We can just kind of help you get started on like how to plant transplants and things like that. All right, so Leo here is our youngest gardener. He's 11 years old. He has 2 plots here. Leo. So Leo, si puedes decir cómo te llamas y los quieres enseñar lo que tienes creciendo ahorita.
Oh, mi nombre es Leandro y tengo este pedazo de sembro plantas. Y estos son tomates, rabanitos y cilantro y chiles. Y estas son matas de calabaza. Y este cebolla y jitomate y fresa. Y este es un pedazo. De aquí mantenemos estos pedazos limpios. Y también tengo aquel pedazo que tengo las plantas, acabo de plantar unas plantas también. Y aquí con mis vecinos trabajamos para que se mire limpio.
¿Cuánto tiempo tienes en el jardín?
En el jardín tengo ya como 2 años aquí haciendo esto. Y también tengo aquel pedazo, el mío, y también planto en 2. Pues mi papá también viene ayudarme y yo nomás de vez de jugar juegos en mi teléfono vengo a extraerme aquí.
Ok, gracias Leo. Muchas gracias. Ok, los vemos. So Leo was mentioning that he has some tomatoes and radishes and cilantro, tomatillos, and some squash and onions. And he has some strawberries at the end. So he has this plot and he has this other plot out here with the larger tomatoes. But he was mentioning that he and his family come out and they plant here to distract themselves for a little bit and to relax. Yeah, and so he spends a lot of time here. He also mentioned that instead of getting on the phone, he just like comes out here and likes to keep the area clear and tend to his plants. Okay, Valeo. Gracias. All right, so we're gonna make our way to the center here. This is Leo's other plot. He just planted some big tomatoes right now too. All right, so we still have some garden plots that are open. As you can see, some of them are a little weedy out here. So we would show people like, oh, this one's open here. We help clear it with volunteers and then help people get started. All right, so this plot here, these 5 plots here, 2 clubs from Edison High School have checked them out. The Kindness Club and the Allies Club have partnered together to grow these gardens here along with their teachers at their school. And they come here and plant. And they also, I believe they give away the food at school as well, because they were trying to start a garden there. So we teamed up so that they have a space to grow in the meantime. All right, and then we're gonna head over to our storage container up here. So this is where we keep tools. So we do have some tools that the gardeners can use. We have like hula hose and pitchforks, shovels and things like that. And then we also have a volunteer group today here. So sometimes churches or other groups will contact us and say, hey, we want to come out and volunteer. So we schedule a time. So today we have the Well Church that's out here helping us clear some plots. Yeah, so if any groups out there are interested in bringing volunteers, we need lots of help, especially right now during spring when all the weeds come out. We're trying to prep a lot of garden plots so that we have them available and ready. So this area here, there's lots of wood chips here. So they were donated by a local arborist. So they cut down the trees. And then instead of taking all of this to the landfill, we asked that they bring it here. We use it as mulch to help cover the ground, preserve water inside the ground. And then it also makes the soil really, really rich and moist. We're gonna be planting some of the food forests here. So for project number 15, also project of TCC, there's a food forest. So that the food forest is gonna start here and then go off here in this area and then into the back area. So we're gonna be planting 120 fruit trees. And then this is the monarch mural that we planted with, or that we drew or painted with some volunteers. And also Andrea, she's a talented artist. She helped us come together to a design that really meant something for the residents. And so chose the monarch. The monarch has a lot of symbolism of migration, place building, and transformation. So we thought it was very fitting for this site. So we had some of the kids out as well from the neighborhood come out and help us paint it. So that's where we keep all of the tools, any drip lines or anything like that that we might need for the garden. We kind of stack it up in there. This is the area where we have our compost. And so when gardeners get started, so we're also encouraging gardeners to bring any food scraps, that they have from their house. And here we make windrows and we do a bit of education on composting and what that looks like, how to make those rows, how to break it down. We also have some worm bins as well. All right, and then our final destination is our hoop house. So this one was also hand built with volunteers. So we actually bought like the metal and bended all of the metal and taught many volunteers. Put those things together. We were able to make the structure. It took us about, let's say, like 3 or 4 months. So right now, Farmer Trisha and one of our Climate Corps members uses the space to start many plants. So in here we have some collar trees that are being started here by Farmer Trisha and some other stuff for her farm. Yeah, they have a lot of plants here: dill, squash, tomatoes. Yeah, there's some more tomatoes out here too. Yeah, so this space is kind of used to kickstart plants so that our farmers don't have to buy them. We also use them for training. When we have volunteers, we teach them how to start from seed. Oh, and here's Farmer Trisha. Trisha, do you mind just saying hi and like, and what you're currently planting at your farm?
Spinach, bok choy, and lettuce.
And then how long have you been involved in Yeovil?
About 3.5 years.
Yeah, so Trisha was our first gardener, and then had like 1 plot, had 5 plots, and then she was like, I can actually grow way more than this. And we were like, we're gonna start a farm trading program. And so Trisha was like, I can do it. So yeah, Trisha's been with us since the very beginning, since that first volunteer day. So thanks, Trisha.
Okay.
And then, so the farm training programs we have back here in the back. So there's the half-acre plots. So the camera is not able to reach them all, so we won't be able to show you the farm plots, but you can see some volunteers out there right now that are helping Farmer Trisha kind of get started on some of her plots. Yeah, and so right now they currently sell through the Fresno Farm Box. And so if you subscribe to the Fresno Farm Box through the Fresno AME Church, you can buy produce from our farmers that are growing here. They also do their individual sales. Trisha sells some of her collar trees and some of her other like starts. And so if you're interested in purchasing some from her as well, you can contact me. And then yeah, and we can get you connected with Farmer Trisha. Yeah, and so we really, I just wanted to share a little bit about the history of the site. So it started on October 2019. That's when we first broke ground. It was designed through some community meetings and design meetings with some of the residents from Yosemite Village back in 2016. They really liked that circle view, which is why in the middle we had that kind of like pie shape around. They wanted to be able to like walk around it, but they also really wanted it to be more than just like a garden or a farm. They also wanted it to be a green space where there was paths that they can take, that they can walk around, and that they can bring out their families out here as well. So that's kind of like where the design came from. Obviously, we had to tweak it a little bit for like city code and to meet all of the requirements that were needed. And so when we were able to finally launch in 2019, that's when we were able to open up the site. So for the future, we are going to be extending the community gardens. As you saw, they're almost full. So we're going to be extending out here beyond where the volunteers are to the south area. We're going to be planting 120 fruit trees here in the back, next to this jujube grove as well, and then here on the front side. So those are going to be a more food forest style, where you plant different layers and different canopies of trees. So you can have a lot of food in one area. So we're gonna have some like taller, like nut trees, and then some medium-sized fruit trees. And then on the bottom, we'll have like vining plants or bushing plants. And so you'll be able to walk through it and kind of identify different trees, different plants, and kind of glean from them as well. And those are going to be open to the public. I hear sometimes like, what if everyone takes it all? But if you ever had one fruit tree in your yard, you know that they produce a ton. So that'll help produce a lot of food for our families here in Southwest Fresno. Yeah. Oh, the farm stand? Right. Yeah, and so we also we were having a farm stand every first and third Saturday of the first and third Saturday of the month. But we're kind of trying to reassess if we're either going to do like a box style. So if you would like to order some veggies from our gardeners or our farmers, please let us know, contact us. I think we can provide our contact information if people want to get a hold of us as well. All right, and does anyone have any questions? Do we want to open up for questions?
Yeah, so thank you, Chris, for the tour. Now we'll go ahead and open it up for any questions. Again, please use the raise hand feature or *9 on your phone, and you can ask questions for Chris and he can answer them for you. I'm not seeing any questions yet, Chris. Also, if you feel comfortable writing it in the chat, feel free to write it in the chat or the Q&A section, and I'll read those off for Chris to answer. Oh, looks like we have a question from Barbara. Go ahead, Barbara. Unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Good morning, and thank you, Courtney, and thank you, the gentleman. My question is, the community garden is on the southwest side. So how are you communicating putting communication out there to the community regarding your garden? And when do you think you're going to be when is the fruit going to be ripe enough so that the community can start possibly contacting you for vegetables?
Yeah, so thank you. That's a good question. So we as part of the TCC program, we are also doing a lot of community outreach. So we started first small. So we first started with the people that live here next to the Yovo Community Garden at the Mariposa Meadows, and also in the front with the Yosemite Village apartment complex. So we really made sure to engage those people because they live right next to it, so they can be our first stewards to care for the garden. So I would say about like 90% of our gardeners live either in those two apartment complexes. We only allow people to sign up if they're in 93706. We have tons of other people that are interested from outside of the area because we have wait lists in all of our other gardens that we steward. But we really wanted to be mindful that this is a resource that we're bringing to this community, and so we want to make sure to do outreach first. So we're doing door-to-door canvassing at least once a week. We are currently down by like the Edison area, to the right of Edison area, canvassing that area. We've already kind of done this whole area out here. So we're just kind of taking that kind of approach. And then, yeah, we have a social media, Permaculture Fresno on Instagram and Facebook. We send out flyers. We did a bunch of phone calls during COVID too, because we couldn't canvass. And we also go to different presentations and different informational booths at different community centers. So we've been trying to reach residents. If there's a group that we didn't reach out, please let me know. I can send you more information, or if you can connect us and we can do a presentation with them. Yeah, and then the fruit trees, we planted some initially, so those are maybe going to produce some soon, but the vegetables are ready. Our farmers are producing tons of vegetables. They're looking for more more places to take their vegetables. They're really like already ramping up. So if you're interested in buying some of their vegetables or want to subscribe for a box with them, I can connect you with them as well.
Thanks, Chris. Barbara, did you have any other questions for Chris? And feel free to reach out through the Transform Fresno website if you need contact information. Chris's information is on the website, or you can send an email to transformfresno@fresno.gov and I can connect you directly.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate. Thank you for answering.
Hey everyone, yeah, so we have some volunteers from the well today. Thanks for your hard work.
All right, does anybody else have a question? Again, that's *9 or press the raise hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen.
Oh, and we do, so I forgot to add, so every Tuesday and Thursday, we do have volunteer days. So if you're like, maybe like, I don't quite know if I want to commit to like a garden plot, you can come during our volunteer days. We have volunteers every Tuesday and Thursday. We're about to switch to morning because it's getting hot. So we're going to do 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you want to come out, like you can always come out here and take a walk, even if you're not a gardener. And then during those times, we can also like get you involved in all the projects we're working on. So usually we're doing some composting, so we can teach you about composting. We can also show you around the garden beds that are open and kind of teach you a little bit about what we're working on.
Great. Any other quick questions before we close out the session? All right. So thank you, Chris, again, so much for the tour of the beautiful gardens. I can't wait to see all of the vegetables and fruits and flowers coming out of there. It's so exciting. So that concludes our first session of the summit, one of the two first sessions at least. I want to remind everyone that all sessions are being recorded and will be posted on the Transform Fresno website next week, along with all the presentation materials. If you missed out on our West Fresno campus session that was held at this same time, you feel free to go back on our Transform Fresno website, and once that is live, you can go back and watch that and learn about that project as well. So we will now close the session and invite you to attend one of our next two sessions, which is Fresno Forbiz, Connecting Entrepreneurs to Low-Cost Solutions, or our Youth Perspectives panel with Youth Leadership Institute and some of our youth leaders. If you're having trouble finding the links to the next sessions, please visit the Transform Fresno website and click on the summit page, and you will see all links to the sessions. The next session will not be live until it's time. So we hope you can join us. And that's it. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, thank you.
Bye, Chris.